India. Before that, already we have covered first chapter from the history side, and in this chapter you have read about the three terms, that is the how the history is divided. Okay, that so in the 8th class we are talking about the modern history, and in the second chapter we'll just begin the journey of the British rule, that how the British established their rule in our country India. Because you know that on 16th century the Britishers first came to our country India for the business purpose, we can say that. So in this chapter we'll just continue that how they came to our country India and how they established their different factories in our country India, and after that how they expand their empire. Okay, so we can say that Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama is the explorer. He firstly just come to our country India, and he has just discovered the sea route in our country India. When he came, so he just see that in India there are so many variety of spices are there. Okay, in India they are very rich in minerals, very rich in spices, and there are so many sources of, we can say that the trade, the settlement, the trade in India. So he has just discovered the sea route, who? Vasco da Gama. Okay, so in this way, firstly it means when the other countries they just know about the different type of sea routes, so they also came to our country India, and when they have saw that India has so many opportunities, so many things are there, and in our country India the things they are very cheap in rate, so they all want to purchase the things, they all want to take the things from our country India in a very reasonable, in a very cheap rate, and after that they just want to sell the things in their countries in a very possible high rate. Okay, it means they all came to our country India for the business purpose. So here we discuss about that European trading companies in India. It means which European trading companies they just come to our country India for the business purpose. So here first we can say that English or the British on 16th century. Okay, so in the 16th century one royal charter sent to our country India. Okay, and in this way they just want to take the permission. It means firstly they just come to our country India for the business purpose only. Okay, so in this way we can say that it was incorporated by Royal Charter on 31st December 1600, and in this way they just want the right to set up their factories in India. So at the time the Jahangir, okay, because the Jahangir because already I have explained you that before that the Mughal Empire was there. So at the time the Jahangir was the king of our country India. So Jahangir, okay, in the Jahangir court Sir Thomas Roy sent as an ambassador. Okay, and after that he has just taken the permission from the Jahangir, and Jahangir give the permission to Sir Thomas Roy that yes, they can establish their factory for the business purpose. And firstly they have started their factory in Surat. Okay, it means they came 1600, and 1614 they have set up first factory in Surat. After that it means when they just test the success, okay, they have just started their factories in another area also, that is Chennai, Mumbai and Kolkata also. It means in this way after the Surat they started their factories and set up to the Chennai, Mumbai and Kolkata. After that the Dutch, because I have just explained you that so many countries they just want to come in our country India for the business purpose, for the trade purpose. So in this way the Dutch also came, and in 1602 the Dutch, and they have set up their factories on Masulipatam, Nagapattinam. Okay, and after this the Portuguese they also came to our country India for the business purpose. On 1628 they have set up their factories in Goa, Daman and Diu. And after that the French also came, and in 1664 they have just started their factories in Chandanagar and Pondicherry. It means this all the European trading companies one by one they have just set up their factories in our country India. It means in this way, one interesting fact is that they all want they all have set up their factories in India. So they have a competition, we can say. Okay, it means one European companies, they want that only I just do the spreading with spreading only just I start the factories and only I will just get the all type of profit from India and other will not. So in this way we can say that this British and the French, they are very much powerful. Okay. So in this way, because the Dutch and Portuguese, they don't have much power. So it means after some time, the Dutch, they have just closed their all settlement, and the Portuguese, they will also close their all settlement. It means now who will remain? That the British and the French, because they have strong, powerful companies. So they both have the tough competition. We can say that. So after that, one new topic is on book, that is the Anglo-French rivalry. Rivalry, it means competition. Okay. So it means Anglo-French rivalry. We can say that the Carnatic War. And this Carnatic War, it means now the British and the French, they are just two men and powerful, and they just have the tough competition between them. Okay. So they just want to destroy their another factory. So in this way, British first attack to the French, and they have just want to destroy their factories. And again, the French, they have also just to give the return answer to them. It means again they have also fortified their settlements. Okay, they just want to destroy their settlement. And in this way, we can say that the Treaty of Paris. It means when the Treaty of Paris. So before that, I just said that this Carnatic War, it was just from 1746 to 1763. In this way, the three Carnatic Wars were there. And when the Treaty of Paris was there, so in this Treaty of Paris, the third Carnatic War was ended, and the French, they have just retained the Chandanagar and the Pondicherry, and after that the British, because they are more powerful, so after that they have just start their settlement in another area. Okay, so in this way you can understand about that how the European trading companies came to India, which company came to first, and about the Anglo-French rivalry and in the Carnatic War. It means we can say that after the Carnatic War ended, the British, they have just emerged as a main European power in India. Okay, so now we'll read our next topic, that is the Battle of Plassey in 1757. So Battle of Plassey, it is Bengal. It is just well known for its, we can say it well known for the silk and textile, and it is include modern day Bihar, Odisha, and there in some parts of that there. So in this way we can say that after the death of Aurangzeb, in this area, the Bengal is in this area, the Nawab, they have just control in that particular area. It means in this way we can say that the Siraj-ud-Dowla. Okay, so he have just captured this all the area, and he have a powerful army. Okay, so when the British, they just want to expand their empire, so he just want to control over this particular area, but they know that this Siraj-ud-Dowla is very much powerful, and their army is very much powerful. So anyhow, they cannot capture, and they cannot their control on this particular area. So they have just made a planning, because already you know that why the British, they are just a success to establish their factories in our country India, because they have just start a simple policy, that is divide and rule. Okay, so in this way the same, they have just in this Siraj-ud-Dowla army, one main chief is there, that is the Mir Jafar. Okay, so he has just promised to Mir Jafar that if he will just support to us, so in this way they will just make Mir Jafar to the Nawab. Okay, so in this way the Siraj-ud-Dowla and the British, they have just started the war. We can say that they have started the battle. So in this way, the Siraj-ud-Dowla, they have a powerful army, and they have 50,000 horse promised, they have just promised to the Mir Jafar that they will become the Nawab. So they have just it will fulfill their promise, and Mir Jafar, he will become the like Nawab. But we can say that in this way also, he is just only the puppet ruler. Okay, because by their own choice he cannot do anything. He will do only that particular work that is the British government want. So with that Mir Jafar, he is only the puppet of the British government. We can say that he was the puppet ruler. Okay, and after that, when the Mir Jafar, their son, was died, so their power is their control and their power is completely finished. And after that, son-in-law Mir Qasim. Okay, so their Mir Qasim is just start to control on that particular area. So in this way, we can say that again one more battle is there. That is the Battle of Buxar. So Mir Qasim, because he is also not very much strong army. So the British government, they also want to control on the Mir Qasim also. So definitely Mir Qasim had taken the support from the Sirajuddaula and from the Shah Alam II. But then also we can say that one battle is there, and this battle is known as the Battle of Buxar. And in this battle, again the Mir Qasim is just defeated from the British ruler, and the British, they have just established their settlement in all this part of the part of our country, India. So the British, in this way, the British started. It means when they captured their control in all part of the Bengal. So they have just started the dual system of administration. What is the dual system of administration? Dual system of administration, it means in this system of administration, all the work, okay, this work will in the hand of the Nawab only, and whatever we can say that the financial, it means the taxes are there, and all the financial things, this financial deal will do the British government only. It means the work will do the Nawab, and British will take all the financial, all the taxes are there. All the things the British government will take in their hand only. So we can say that the work will do the Nawab, but the actual power will remain in the hands of British government only. So now we'll just after this completing this topic, it means you have just to understand about the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. And now we'll just continue this journey, and now we'll discuss about how the British just establishment and how the British just expand their empire. Okay, now we'll just discuss about the expansion of the British Empire, because when the British, they have just test the success. Okay, so they just want to expand their empire. So they have just we can say that the another wars are there, and to expand their empire. In this way, the 3 wars are there. The Anglo-Mysore War, it was in 1667 to 1799. In this war, the Tipu Sultan, and you know that who is Tipu Sultan? Tipu Sultan was the son of Hyder Ali. Okay, so Tipu Sultan, he is also very much powerful, but we can say that the British army, it was very much powerful army. So the Anglo-Mysore War, in this Anglo-Mysore War, the Tipu Sultan, he was just defeated from the British government. And if we talk about the Anglo-Maratha War, so in this Anglo-Maratha War, the Peshwas are there, and this war started on the 1775 to the 1818, and in this war, the Peshwas are there, but soon the Peshwas, they are also defeated from the British government. And the next war, that is the Anglo-Sikh War. So we can say that the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Okay, so Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he was also very much powerful ruler, but he is also defeated in the Anglo-Sikh War. That this war began from the 1845 and ended in 1849. It means in this war, the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he was also defeated from the British Empire. So in this way, we can say that you can just detailed read the topic in your book. So the British government, it means one of their Governor General, their name is Lord Dalhousie. So Lord Dalhousie has started one more policy, that is doctrine of lapse. Okay, what is the doctrine of lapse? It means according to the doctrine of lapse, if in simply we can say that if any rulers are there, but if this ruler, he don't have their natural hire. Okay, natural hire, it means he don't have their own son, not adopted, their own son. So in this case, if any ruler is there and he don't have their own son or non-natural hire, so in this condition, their whole, it means after the death of the king, their whole empire will just go to the British hand. So in this link, they have just do the control on so many part of the country. It means they have just captured the Satana in 1848, Jaipur, Sambalpur in 1850, Udaipur 1852, Nagpur 1853 and Jhansi 1854. It means in this all the types of all the part of the particular country where the natural hires are not available. So the British government, they just control on that particular part of the country. So here I think you are just clear about the Anglo-Mysore War, Anglo-Maratha War, the Anglo-Sikh War and the doctrine of lapse. Now we discuss about the administration in the British Empire. So we can say that the British government, they have a very powerful army. In this very powerful army, they have just given the support to the British government to expand their empire. And in this way, the British government, they have just started the, it means firstly they have started the recruitment of the police and they have started the system of high court. So they have started the recruitment of the police. So they have just settled the different posts to like Daroga, Subedar, okay, in the different parts of the village. And in this type of recruitment, they just want to control on law and order, and they have started the high court system also. Okay, in the like the Surat, Mumbai, they started the high court also, and it means in this all the types of things, it means the British, they just want to administration, proper administration. But whatever the high posts are there, it means either the high post in the police field or any other field, in the administration field, the higher post is given to the British government, the member of the British government only. It means they are not giving any type of high post to the Indian people. Also they have just to give the post to them, but higher post they just give to their particular member only. And in this way, the high court is also started. And when it means in this all type of things, the British government, they have just successfully to the administration in our country, India. And they have started one more thing, that policy of paramountcy. It was the policy of paramountcy. In this policy, they can just merge any of the princely state in their own area. Okay. So at the time, the Rani Chamanna, okay, she was a very much, we can say that, a very powerful lady there. So he was the ruler of the Kittur. So he just fought the battle with the British government because she don't want to annex with the British government. So it means in this chapter we have covered the topic that how the British government came to our country India, how they start their settlement. It means firstly why they came to India and in which type of things are in which how they just establish their settlement, and their administration policy we have discussed, and the different policies like policy of paramountcy, doctrine of lapse we have discussed. So I think you all just understand all the topic which I explained to you. Please read this chapter once, and thus after that reading the chapter, please go through all the topics, and very soon we'll meet with the next chapter. Thank you.